Welcome back to Travolting. Hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore. Covering Paradise City. With special guest, Cole Bradley.
We're recording right now.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome back, folks.
Welcome back, folks. That's right. It's the original logo. It's the original music. We're back. Travolting, baby.
Oh, God.
Checking in with our boy.
I will never escape from my pain in my prison. I am back in prison.
It's like, okay, we're done with John Travolta. I can get with this Fraser business.
Get with Fraser.
And now
I was listening to our, by the way, last week you would have heard our Now and Then episode.
Yes.
Which was a great episode. I actually listened to it on my way here.
Yeah.
It's a good episode.
Yeah, we recorded it then, and now we're talking now.
Fuck
Travolta.
you. And now
and then it could be our show with now we're talking about Fraser, then we're talking about Travolta, but the timelines intermingle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Paradise City.
I know Brendan Fraser is not in this movie, but can I just drop a hot take
Yes.
real quick?
Yeah.
Always.
Just a follow up to what we talked about last time I was on here.
Yeah.
It is currently November 12th, 2022.
Yes.
The trailer for The Whale just dropped. I am no longer super confident that Brendan Fraser is getting a Best Actor nomination.
Oh.
I think secretly of the five, I think he's J-Lo in Hustlers. I think of the five accepted nominees, I think he's actually the one Tom has the best shot of kicking out.
Imagine Tom Cruise getting nominated for
It's insane.
Top
I
Gun
don't
Maverick.
think it's going to happen, but I think Fraser is the weakest spot.
Wow. First it was he's definitely not going to win. He'll definitely get a nomination. But now you don't even think he's going to get a nomination.
No. I still think he's in the five. I have just gone from if Tom knocks somebody out, it's Hugh Jackman, to if Tom knocks somebody out, it's Brendan Fraser. And part of that is that A24 seems to be abandoning The Whale.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, that's not a good sign.
The movie comes out in 3 weeks. They just dropped the first poster. It is just a Photoshop of the one publicity image they had already released.
That's not a good sign.
A24 is going all in on everything everywhere all at once and maybe pulling back on The Whale.
Stuart, you and I have to be the guerrilla marketing campaign for The Whale. And not for people to necessarily to see the movie. We just got to get our boy a nomination.
But I mean, A24 is known for abandoning in the marketing stages. That's why people haven't heard of the movie Spring Breakers.
Who hasn't heard of the movie Spring Breakers?
Well, correction. A lot of people don't know that that's an A24 film.
Because it was the first one.
Well, here's the thing.
It was
they
3
started,
years before the A24
they started pretty fucking
started.
early, and if you look over the course of A24 movies, the movies you haven't heard of are the ones that they haven't marketed, are the ones that they know are going to be bad movies.
But Spring Breakers is not one of those. Spring Breakers was a hit. They pushed Spring Breakers insane. They came way closer than anyone thinks to getting James Franco a Best Supporting Actor nomination that year. Trust me, I was there.
Who's in the trenches?
The A24 Cult of Personality starts around the time Moonlight makes its Oscar run. And is firmly entrenched when Hereditary comes out. That is 3 to 5 years after Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers is the third movie they ever put out.
First and foremost, the James Franco attempt to get himself a nomination for Spring Breakers, where it's just a video of him going, "Consider this shit." Very funny. Number two, let's stop talking about Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted a brief update.
Yeah. No, that was an important update. It's good that we did that. Welcome back to Cole Bradley, by the way, folks. Back from 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Something like that.
In his episode, Passion of Darkly Noon.
Yeah, we're back with John Travolta. And not just John Travolta. We're back with
John Travolta and Bruce Willis.
Which, whether it actually is going to be or not, this film is currently being publicized by not just the media, but also by Bruce Willis himself as Bruce Willis's last movie because of
his aphasia.
His aphasia.
He's slated to be in like 3 more movies, but
Yeah,
it's nebulous. They are going in on this one specifically, but he does slated to be in Detective Knight Redemption, Detective Knight Independence, and Die by Lovers still.
Which I believe a trailer for Detective Knight Redemption just dropped.
Yes.
So that one is at least a movie that is locked.
All are movies that were filmed previously or after Paradise City?
No, this might have been the last one he shot.
No, because he shot this last May. He shot Detective Knight 2 and 3 at the end of last year.
Okay.
So
Maybe
months apart.
Saban's just big dogging. Who knows?
I mean, every single Bruce Willis movie to come out this year is going to be marketed as Bruce Willis's last movie. Yeah. Just based on the fact that everyone wants to get a few more listens. Or
the thing that I think is really funny, actually, is not that. I have not seen them saying that. The line I see them pushing about this movie is that they're trying to sell this like it's Heat for Travolta and Willis.
And that is very confusing to me.
That is the thing they're pushing, as though, obviously people care about Pulp Fiction to the degree they care about The Godfather for some reason. Another reason why Gen X needs to die off.
Wow. Pulp
Fiction
Cole Bradley episode.
Pulp Fiction is not a real movie, and you can't convince me otherwise.
I mean, it's Cole Bradley froze. Uh-oh.
He said Pulp Fiction was not a real movie, and the take was too spicy that it crashed the connection.
The internet. Here, I may have a go. Yeah, the internet connection. Minimize out of.
He says he can still hear us.
Okay, well, minimize out of Zoom. Let's cancel all the other programs that are running right now. Oh, is he back?
No, it's just fully.
Oh, did it fully crash?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Oh, it's reconnecting.
This is the exciting. Hi.
All right, no, Jeff. Close out of Google Chrome and close out of Messenger. Yep. Quit messages and quit Google Chrome. Just making sure it's not running too many things at the same time. I'll cut all this out.
I will do the same on my end. Yeah, I'm going to close iTunes and Chrome.
All right, can you maximize Zoom, Jeff? All right, the last thing we heard you say, Cole, was that Pulp Fiction is not a real movie.
And then it was
spicy. The FBI went for you at that point.
The first half of Pulp Fiction is a very good movie.
Wait, we've had this exact conversation on this show.
Because you have read my Letterboxd review on this show.
Yes.
Anyway, my point I'm making is, even given the degree to which people love Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Minor Tarantino, who is a minor director. So there we go. Who is clamoring? People are not clamoring for Travolta and Willis to be together on screen again, like they were Pacino and De Niro.
They're in 2 scenes together in Pulp Fiction. And then they are in...
And one of them is 5 seconds long.
Yes. One of them is just Willis shooting Travolta.
And the weirdest thing about this movie is I'm pretty sure they're never in a shot together in this movie, even though the bloopers revealed that they were in fact on set together. The biggest twist in this movie is that one of the last things we see is explicit footage confirming that they were on set for at least one of their scenes together.
Yeah, there's
I don't think they ever share the frame otherwise.
There's one wide shot when they're both on the beach, like the standoff.
Then I blanked on that because that's the scene you see in the bloopers.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like and then obviously they did the Now Look Who's Talking movies together.
Yes.
Which is not really together because Bruce Willis is in a booth the whole time.
Yeah. But it's just a weird pull that is the marketing for this.
They're also not really actors of the same generation.
No, they're not.
Because obviously, not only has Travolta got a decade on Willis, but Willis's star runs perfectly bookend Travolta's comeback.
Yeah.
Like when Travolta comes back in the 90s, that's the Willis fallow period. And when Willis comes back with Die Hard 3 and Armageddon and The Sixth Sense at the end, that's when Travolta's stock starts to drop again. Whereas Pacino and De Niro are like legitimately
contemporaries
who are going like head to head for 10 straight years. Yeah. And it's also just a weird thing to say when everyone knows that Bruce Willis is like sick.
Yes.
And that there's this whole carny aspect to watching these late period Bruce Willis movies that I found very uncomfortable.
It's a little unsettling how much you can tell he's like dubbed and cut up in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, noticeably, I don't know if you guys caught this, but his stunt double in the opening scene is not white.
I did not catch that.
I did not catch that either.
Yeah, when it cuts from his stunt double running to like an actual close-up face of Willis's face, the skin tone like gets like 6 shades lighter. His stunt double appears to either have a very thick tan or to be Hispanic or Asian. It's hard to tell because you don't like get a good look at his face, obviously, or maybe Middle Eastern. But that's my point: is that like not only are they hiding Willis, and you don't see his face for like
a lot of the
first
movie.
Couple minutes of this movie, and then he is to his credit and to Russell's credit, he is in this movie more than I thought he was going to be, given his health, and maybe more than he should have been.
Yeah, I mean, the movie starts and he's like, Willis has he has a one-liner, he does a few little things, and then he gets shot. And at that point I was like, is that it?
And he's also, not only is that it, but like actual Bruce Willis, not just the character, but actual Bruce Willis in this opening scene probably has sub 30 seconds of screen time.
Yes.
And that's being generous. It is so clearly a double for everything but a handful of facial close-ups that could have been punched in.
I kind of got the vibe that there was some trickery going on with him when it was sustained for more than like 5 seconds. Like, obviously the man's sick, but it kind of looked, I don't know if it was like they were CGIing his mouth or if it was just cut up between different takes, but it felt like a little jittery in the middle of his voice.
I had a similar thought. I'm also wondering, and I don't know if you guys did any research on this film's production. I did a little, but it sat on the shelf for like a year and a half.
Well, this is a perfect segue into our
and I know they shot some of it in Hawaii.
Yes.
Because there's a quote from the like Hawaii film commissioner who's like, yeah, they could have blew through here way faster than most productions do. But clearly I think there's been some reshoots. And there is the like Georgia tax credit filming location stuff in the end credits.
Yes.
So I wonder if how much of this was that just post, like a lengthy post session, maybe like digitally inserting Bruce into more of the movie than he was after they said he was sick, so they could like take advantage of it. So he's clearly dubbed, maybe, or did they actually reshoot a good chunk of this in the past year and a half?
So so they definitely shot for only 2 weeks in Hawaii.
2 weeks?
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
2 weeks. 2 weeks of prep, 3 weeks of shooting.
Yes.
Wow.
Which is insanely fast.
That is insanely fast.
Like a kind of complex location shoot, if you think about it.
They shot this, and you can tell in. I'm just gonna say it now, and then we'll talk about it later. But for the listener at home, this movie ends with a blooper reel during the credits.
Yeah.
But you can tell during that there's a lot of like, all right, we got 10 minutes to shoot this scene, like people saying that. So they were really like all day.
I mean, there's a lot of scenes where the daylight isn't consistent.
Yeah.
I mean,
the daylight in this movie is nonsensical.
Oh my God. So many scenes start in like 4 a.m. blue hour, and then by the time they split apart at the end of their dialogue scene, it's sunset. And it's like, the fuck is going on?
The movie's one, I think, legitimately good action scene takes place in like clearly high noon. And then the next 10 minutes of the movie are people talking about a shootout that happened last night.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't even mind it. But why are you not even fixing that dialogue in post?
Or like, I don't know. There's solutions to all of these problems.
Hey, but Cole,
and they clearly did like even Becca walked through as I was watching this movie, and first she shook her head, but then she said, "This looks so reshot."
Yeah.
Like she could notice in just passing how like this like it's Willis leaning up against a rock, and there's like clearly just a source light on him instead of the actual sunset.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And it's very clearly on a stage.
Very clearly. Hey, but Cole.
Yeah.
Everything in a movie is intentional.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I had to pull up that passionate darkly
No,
dude bit.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just baffled by the choices. And also, as we agreed last time, intentionality is meaningless.
I don't want to.
I'm not letting this be relitigated. He's putting out the candle, folks.
Okay. Jeff, is there any more context to talk
This
about?
movie got made. That's what I got for you.
Well, it's been on the docket for a long time.
I remember I was really hoping this was going to come out because they finished filming this last June of 2021. 3-week production at Maui, and then,
which is crazy.
Yes.
Which I have to assume that the on-shelf thing is heavy reshoots in Georgia.
Heavy. I don't even know heavy. Just like a lot of these Travolta, late-stage Wilson Travolta movies have weirdly long turnarounds.
Long prep or long post?
No, like it gets finished and then it sits around for a year and a half and then it gets dumped on Amazon Prime on like November 12th. That happens for a lot of these movies, I've been noticing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what happened with this one. Is they filmed it last year and then it sat around. They probably did some reshoots, or they definitely did some reshoots. I can't find any direct evidence as to like the extent that they did, but you can tell that there's a little bit going on, mostly just with Bruce Willis.
Yeah. Well, part of me wonders if they, in the prep stage, they had planned to shoot more with him, but then when it came to the actual execution, that was quickly shut down.
It's probably hard having Bruce on location.
The other thing about first of all, Bruce shoots on a location all the time because most of these movies shoot in Eastern Europe.
Yes.
But the line on Willis before his family said he was sick was always that it was like he gets paid by the day.
Yeah, $1 million a day.
Yeah, that's I don't know how literal that is, but this idea that like he'll fly in and he'll leave if you pay him and you give him housing and like amenities, but you have to like work your schedules around him only being there for a tiny portion of the shoot. And I don't understand why this one would be the one to not realize that, per se. That doesn't make sense. I wonder if they wanted more Bruce in it once he announced his retirement.
Yes,
that's
would make
my
sense.
theory, because there's a weirdly high amount of Bruce in this movie.
And like when I go on to IMDb and I look at the images, there's like a few paparazzi photos of this movie, and they're all from only 2 scenes.
Which two?
Every paparazzi photo of this movie involving Bruce is from the first sequence when he's on the beach with all the guys, and then the last sequence when he's on the beach with Travolta.
Yeah.
It looks like they actually probably shot them at just beaches next to each other.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe that was the Bruce day where they had him on location, and then they did all the rest of his pickups in Georgia.
He could. I was just about to say that, Jeff. I cannot fathom like watching this movie and thinking Bruce Willis gave more than like 4 days of production time.
That seems, yeah, but that's high for him.
Right, that seems high.
Is the point we're making is that Bruce normally shoots for like 2 days max on these things.
I would bet he does 1 day in Hawaii.
Yeah.
1 day in Georgia.
Yeah.
I also wonder if maybe, since we're getting into that, if you do seem to think that the ending was shot, I wonder if maybe the ending was rejiggered.
Yeah, because
like they had a Mexican standoff between Travolta and Willis that was maybe originally planned to open the movie, and they reworked it because it's such a weird ending, and you can so easily plug in like new footage of Travolta with his kid, that's all the stuff that like directly indicates this is the end of the movie, is all the footage that's not of Willis in that scene. And that's an easy rework.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? I wonder if the movie was meant to start with him like capturing Travolta on the beach, going into the gunfight, and then dying, and then being dead the whole time. This is all speculation.
It's all speculation, but it's like compelling speculation.
Because there's no blooper reel footage of Bruce. Oh, there is a little blooper reel footage of Bruce later. I forgot.
Yeah, Bruce on the beach he's talking about the turtle.
Can we just talk about the bloopers for a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
I fucking hated the bloopers.
They all seem so miserable.
They
do.
Here's the reasons I hated the bloopers are I not so much that I hated them, I don't get why they're in there. All the Bruce Willis stuff seems like the joke is that in the bloopers, I mean, that he like literally doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
Which, whether or not that's what's actually happening, that's clearly what the implication is. That's horribly uncouth. Then on top of that, you have just Steven Dorff bitching left and right about how much he hates the crew. And just like Chuck Russell seemingly being directed by his actors in like half the things, all for what is ultimately one good joke, which is a guy turns around and walks into the camera. Like, that's the one good gag in the bloopers, and everything else, it just makes it look like the fucking most oppressive exploitative shit show production.
Yes,
none of it felt
probably aren't fun to shoot.
None of it
all
felt
seem
like
miserable.
bloopers.
And at one point, Travolta's like kind of like, "All right, can we cut? Can we cut?" It's like,
did either of you guys see Ticket to Paradise?
no.
The Clooney Roberts movie.
I did
that
not.
movie's only so, but it has an incredible blooper reel in the end credits.
Like, it seems like they were having fun making it.
It seems like, well, the blooper reel is mostly just Julia Roberts and George Clooney razzing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and that's
like
good.
either making fun of each other after one of them blows a take, or like really like good improv to try to make the extras break. And like, just like seeing this, another, location is everything kind of cheapo movie with older movie stars.
Yeah.
Do this like miserablest blooper reel after the first good blooper reel I've seen in years just really drove home how unpleasant this is.
Well, for Paradise City, it didn't really feel like a bloopers reel, as it really just felt like a uncomfortable behind the scenes documentary of what was going on. Because you're right, like there was a moment where like John Travolta about to start a take, and then Chuck Russell yells some direction mid take. He's like, "Oh, so are you just gonna talk in the middle of the scene? You just talk in the middle of the scene?
You're gonna talk over my dialogue?
You're gonna talk over my dialogue?" And I'm just like, that's not funny. That's uncomfortable. Like,
I don't want to see this.
It's so weird. Oh,
It
man.
is the strangest choice I've seen in a movie in a hot second.
It also comes 3 minutes into the end credits.
Yeah.
It comes after the Times New Roman big font credits.
Oh my God.
Jeff, you haven't seen Wakanda Forever yet, have you?
Tomorrow morning.
I'm seeing it
There's
too.
a piece of billing in Wakanda Forever that's gonna make you scream in the theater.
I'm very excited. Oh,
Okay,
boy.
say no more, please. We're both
No, I
seeing it
won't.
tomorrow.
I'm gonna text you the second we get out. Also,
Yeah, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about.
to both Cole and the audience and the listener at home, I would just like to say, if we seem slightly unfocused during this episode,
I know.
I would just like to say Stuart and I just got out of a screening of RRR.
Oh my God. One of the best fucking movies I've ever seen.
I woke up this morning at 9 a.m., put Paradise City immediately on.
I watched it last night.
Watched Paradise City. The movie ended. I got off my couch, got in my car, drove to the theater, watched RRR with the director in attendance, then drove home, started recording this. That's my day.
God, I hope Variants takes the tour to other cities. I mean, I've seen it twice.
Everything I've been reading is that RRR, it will probably do some more.
Yeah, I think they're going to roll it out to every major market, which means I'm going to get to see it a third time.
Hell yeah. Great movie.
It's so good.
The best movie.
I'm terrified about what his American movie is going to be.
Oh, did he announce he's making one?
Not literally, but he signed with CAA. And
Okay.
I mean, again, I don't literally think there's a project, but he did say he's developing another Indian movie right now, and then after that he's going to think about going overseas. Like, he indicated that it was in the cards, was that he was going to come and make something in the States.
No.
But he works really slowly.
Yes.
So that's like years out, assuming the demand is still there, which I think it will be.
We got the scoop tonight about what his next India movie might be.
Yeah, we
did get that.
That sounds good. It sounds good. RRR rules. God, it's so good. I hope
it's a great movie.
All right, but I just wanted to get that out of the way, and also just say that if you haven't yet, you should find an opportunity to see RRR.
Gents, I'm having a much better time talking about the speculative nature of making this movie than I think I am when we actually talk about the plot of this movie.
Yeah, I got it.
It's just underwhelming, man.
Okay, so Cole doesn't even like it.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
So Jeff, what are you doing here? What are you doing?
I kind of like this movie.
Yeah, I don't hate this movie by any means.
I don't hate it either, but it's just the same nonsense.
I was kind of sitting on my couch going for all 93 minutes of this
and
thing.
I'm going to say this. I am someone who watches a wealth of direct-to-video action and crime movies.
Yes.
But I largely ignore these like faded star-driven red box movies.
Yes.
I just don't. There's just when the whole trend started, I thought like, this might be a fun thing to like know about. And then immediately I was like, there's just too many of them. And so I just tapped out like 6 years ago. I just gave no pretense to keeping up with these things. I don't know if I've told you this.
Thousands of them.
Well, I don't know if I told you this, Jeff, but 5 years ago, me and Mark Tilley,
former guest of the show.
Yeah, actually floated the idea of doing a Bruce Willis podcast, but we pulled the plug on it, and I'm glad we did now. Holy shit. We just pulled the plug on it because we were like, it's just not going to be entertaining to talk about all the Redbox movies. That's half his career.
That was when I told Stuart about Travolta. He said, it's not going to be entertaining to talk about all the Redbox movies. And I said,
but no,
yeah,
Travolta
we're
has
not
so
stopping.
many less than Willis does. The problem with Willis isn't... Because I don't think these movies are in and of themselves worthless.
Yeah.
I am a real exploitation movie head. And by that, I mean I watch every straight-to-streaming teen movie.
Yeah.
I like the boring parts in Roger Corman movies. Like my point wasn't that this stuff isn't worth talking about, but with Bruce Willis, it is literally half his career.
Yes.
And that just seemed uninteresting to delve into when he's only in them for a few minutes. I think but my point going back was I've seen enough DTV action movies made on a similar scale to this to know that these things can be fucking kick ass.
What's the best one?
The best direct-to-video action movie of all time is Universal Soldier 6.
Yes.
That's not a hot take.
Oh, no.
I wanted you to say that so Stuart could hear it.
Stuart, have you never seen Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning?
No, but...
Stuart, do you like the cinema of Nicholas Winding Refn?
I wouldn't know.
Okay. Stuart, have you seen the Lynn Ramsey movie You Were Never Really Here, where Joaquin Phoenix plays the vigilante?
Why does that movie sound familiar?
Okay, Stuart clearly hasn't. Listeners, I'm going to throw this out. If you know about those two things I listen and you wonder what it would be like if they were good, watch Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning.
Who directed that movie, Jeff?
John Hyams.
Oh boy.
John Hyams, whose new movie looks so fucking good.
Should we tell Cole?
No, Cole knows. I
know. Oh, I know. Yeah. I know. I know. Jeff, you know about John Hyams' next movie, right?
Yeah, it's a Sick. Is that the one?
It's a COVID slasher written by Kevin Williamson.
So it's going to be good.
Of Scream.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty good.
Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning is a fucking masterpiece. If you ever do Jean-Claude Van Damme, that's one of the ones I would be on.
No, we actually got a really good pitch for another series yesterday. I'll tell you about later.
Okay, well, we have to talk about that other thing later.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we got to talk about.
Yeah.
One of them being the fucking movie Paradise City.
But Jeff, before we keep going, have you told Stuart yet?
No.
Okay.
What? What told me what? Can you just tell me on air? Tell me on air.
Paradise City.
Tell me on
Paradise City.
No. Tell me on air.
Bum bum.
Okay, so
Tell me on
Do we
air.
want to go into the plot of this
Tell
movie?
me on air, Jeff. What is the thing you have to tell me?
Okay, so are we going in on the plot here?
Jeff,
Oh
come
my
on.
God, what?
I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop.
I mean, Cole, the thing that we're talking about, I can't tell Stuart on air, right?
I believe so. Well, you can. It's up to you.
Yeah, you can tell me.
I can text you.
I think I might be thinking of something else right now.
Why don't you text it to me, Jeff?
Okay, anyway, so
Plot of Paradise City.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I'm not going to bring that up on the podcast.
Why don't
Yeah,
you
it wouldn't be
text-
good air.
Why don't you
Yeah.
Trust us.
text me?
Stuart, trust us. We'll tell you off air.
But we never
You're
do.
going to be mad.
Okay.
Okay. Do we want to go into the plot? Do we have anything else we got to say?
No.
I mean, it'll come up when we go through the plot, I think.
Yeah, sure. All right, so Paradise City, a kind of good movie.
So we start off. One of the things.
Nothing of a movie.
So here's the thing: when I first started this movie, and I felt like a revisitation to an old friend. I was like, okay, here we go. I'm about to get reunited with my old buddy, old pal, as good friends as we are or not, because we left on weird terms with his very last movie being the fucking Fanatic.
Fanatic, most uncomfortable movie I ever watched.
I was enjoyed by the familiar opening of the million logos that we get at the beginning. I was like, oh, yes, we're back at John Travolta land because we have a million opening logos.
It is just nonstop. I counted 5, including one that is just a capital group.
Yeah.
Just like Miller Capital or something.
Which I believe is how a lot of these movies get financed.
Yeah,
It's just
100%.
normally not in the opening.
Yeah, it's not that all the hedge funds usually don't get logos.
Isn't like STX mostly just an outgrowth of a hedge fund or something? Didn't I read that somewhere?
I believe so. And now they're like completely collapsing.
Yeah, what happened to STX, man?
They funded a lot of Democrats in the the midterms,
Sure.
and apparently that's where they put all their
God
money.
bless Saban, though. Saban, good company.
We stand.
Yeah, they released good movies. It was very funny when they insisted on calling it Saban's Power Rangers. Do you ever think about that? I think about that all the time.
Power
You know what movie fucking rules, by the way?
Power Rangers?
Saban's Power Rangers. It's so good. One of the best.
Was that the
movies
one
of
that was like
2017.
sponsored by Krispy Kreme?
It's the one with Elizabeth Banks as the
It's
bad
the
guy.
one with Elizabeth Banks and Bryan Cranston.
And Krispy Kreme.
Maybe. I
It
don't
has
know.
a lot of Krispy Kreme. I haven't even seen the movie, but I know it's got a lot of Krispy Kreme product placement.
Is that movie getting a sequel?
No.
It did not make money, right?
Aren't they making
It did not make money, and I think there's some legal issue preventing
Okay.
them. I think Saban lost the rights
Okay.
to Power Rangers.
How will we endure?
It's a good movie.
So after the million opening logos, we open in Hawaii.
Yes.
And in case you couldn't
Good
tell,
island.
and in case you couldn't tell by the nature of the landscape, they also supplement with a Hawaii title card
yes.
to tell you we're in Hawaii.
I believe they're on Maui.
We are
right?
on Maui for this whole movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
From someone who went to Hawaii this past summer,
Yeah.
I felt oddly in tune with figuring out where this movie was
There's
set.
a high-speed car coming down a road, and it crashes. And
No, sir. There's not a high-speed car coming down a road. We are on a beach. The camera pulls back. We hear the sound of a high-speed car.
And we see the camera shake,
Yeah, the camera shakes.
which is 100% one of the coolest things in this movie.
Yeah, I actually rather like this opening shot.
Yeah,
And
I
the
like
camera,
it. It's
and the camera shakes,
interesting.
and then it pans over to a tree where there's a car crashed into it. Like clearly they couldn't do the stunt with the car crashing into the tree, so they found an interesting way to just like imply it and then pan to the crashed car.
I mean, the semi fourth wall break of the camera being affected
Yes,
is like a nice. It's a nice idea because again, if you can't show the stunt, and I would have preferred they showed the stunt, obviously, but the contrast as like the camera shake is like a bridge between the serenity of the pan across the beach to the chaos of the car crash. It is like a little disruption of the flow of the shot.
yes.
It's clever.
And then I like how you assume that it's going to the camera's going to stop at the door and pick up with the person getting out of the car.
Bruce Willis' stunt double.
Bruce Willis' stunt double. But instead it continues and it just gets really tight on the license plate and the trunk of the car where you just hear and a banging.
We'll find out.
It's one of the nice moments in this movie.
Yes.
And then the door opens and we reveal Bruce Willis.
Yes. His stunt double.
His stunt double.
Well, but then we
shot from the neck down.
But then we eventually get a face reveal of Bruce Willis.
Well, we get all the way down to the beach.
Like a minute later, after a lot of neck down shots of him dragging someone across a beach.
Yes. He has a prisoner with him, or a hostage, or whoever,
in a bag,
whose head is covered by a bag, so we never get their identity. Gets surrounded by armed henchmen, and I'm already writing down, this is already ridiculous.
This is when I was like,
because he starts shooting at these guys, and they're completely missing him, but he's like hitting a bunch of guys.
Yeah, because he's the coolest but
then he gets shot, and then he gets shot and killed.
And something else happens in there, which I think is interesting. It's going to happen again like 10 minutes later, where he like gives this spiel about how he has legal authority over the person he's holding.
Yes.
Because he's a bounty hunter, which Steven Dorff is going to repeat in the next scene of the movie. And it really feels like something Chuck Russell or whoever wrote this movie read is like a thing bounty hunters like say sometimes.
By the state of Massachusetts penal code statute, I have legal right over this arrest.
Because the idea of them being bounty hunters is dropped about 20 minutes into the movie.
It's so it's so pointless. It makes no sense, and they abandon this idea that they're ever going after the money pretty quickly too.
Yeah, because right at the start I'm like, oh, this is a movie about bounty hunters. It's like about the secret underworld of bounty hunters, and then immediately it's like, no, it's just a revenge movie.
Which again, there's hints of a more interesting movie.
Yes.
Here, because if you're a white guy living in Hawaii working as a bounty hunter, you're not catching people running from the mainland to Hawaii because that's not where you'd go.
Yeah.
So you're really just this like kind of brute force arm of the colonial state.
Yeah, just
in a way, while also quote unquote working class, which is something the movie hints at in the first Steven Dorff scene, and I guess near the end of it. But again, that's what a real movie would want to do, and this movie kind of just disappointingly drops everything. So then Willis gets shot and he dies.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
But he pulls out his phone and he makes a phone call and he says a very confusing like phrase to his son. I can't even.
It's very dubbed.
Yeah,
it's very poorly dubbed by someone else doing a Bruce Willis impression.
So he's just like,
I don't want to make fun of Bruce Willis, who was not healthy when he made this movie, and the whole thing is exploitative. But on the other hand, I think we can acknowledge that and also point out that the really bad dubbing,
it's terrible,
is funny.
It sounds ridiculous
because it's not him, and that's why it's funny, and that's why I'm comfortable laughing at it.
We're not laughing at Bruce Willis. We're laughing at how the filmmakers think they could have gotten away with this.
Yes.
We're laughing at the movie Paradise City.
Right. So I didn't know this was a flash, if this was a flashback or a flash forward or if this was present day. Yeah. It left a little bit confusing because Bruce Willis's body then falls into the ocean and washes away.
Yeah, and Adele starts singing.
Really?
Is that this guy? Oh, whatever. I thought.
You were doing a James Bond thing.
Yeah, because that's the opening of that movie. Is he falls in the water and there's the blood trail coming from him.
But anyway, I thought
take me down to the paradise,
which is not in this movie.
It's not in the movie.
Paradise City, the song, is not in the movie.
And Stuart also pointed out, you know what they spend maybe 3 minutes in?
The actual city, Paradise City.
It's not even a city.
It's not even a city. It's a tribal clan.
They burn it down.
It gets 3 minutes of screen time, and most of it's spent in a hut where a dude trips on ayahuasca.
Stuart.
We're going to get to that scene.
Stuart,
We're going to get to that scene.
No, I have to say, How could you say all this and then contend this movie's bad?
I won't say it's like
'Cause it's
horrendous.
Interesting.
That's the thing.
Can
It's
we
not
talk
interesting.
about the actual death knell of this movie?
Yes.
What? There's a
The
lot.
actual death knell of this movie isn't the Bruce Willis stuff. And it's not the John Travolta
I mean, it kind of
like
is
kind of
Travolta
phoning
stuff
it in.
a little bit.
and kind of half asleep and also weirdly not in the movie. The death knell of this movie is that after this opening with Bruce Willis, it introduces you to Steven Dorff as like Moondog from the Beach Bum, but as a Hawaiian bounty hunter, giving a really like locked in and engaging like perma hungover scumbag performance.
He's pretty good.
I love Steven Dorff. Steven Dorff rules. He's so good. And then after 5 minutes of Steven Dorff kind of bumming his way across a beach, the movie does its actual bait and switch, which is that this is not a Steven Dorff movie. This is Blake Jenner's first post-cancellation project.
What was he canceled
and Blake
for?
Jenner is...
I don't know the Blake Jenner story.
I will give... Would you like the Blake Jenner story?
Yes, I think we need
Please.
the Blake Jenner story.
So I admittedly am someone who bought a lot of stock in Blake Jenner very early. Because Blake Jenner, Jeff, do you know this?
I know he was on Glee.
Oh no. Blake Jenner won the second season of the Glee project. The reality show to determine who would be the new cast member of Glee.
And then he
my-
got to be
And
on
then
Glee.
he got cast, but he's the real Glee project success story, where the season 1 winners were on the show and then didn't stick around. He kind of stuck around because he's this incredibly charming, handsome guy who had real life chemistry with Melissa Benoist, who he would end up marrying, and who was his co-star on that show. And also, this is right around the time Corey Monteith dies, and they need a like charming, handsome brunette white guy lead of the show because their guy died. So he's on Glee for like the last 3 seasons of Glee that nobody cares about, and then he has this run where he's just like, you know, he's one of the brunette white guys that Hollywood's trying to make crack. And he's in Linklater's Everybody Wants Some, and he's incredible in Everybody Wants Some.
He's in The Edge of 17.
He's incredible in The Edge of 17. Holy shit. He's next level good in The Edge of 17. And that's an incredibly difficult performance that he gives.
Because he's the boyfriend, right? Am I correct?
No, he's Haley Steinfeld's older brother.
Okay, yes. I got the characters mixed up, yes.
Yeah. He's Haley Steinfeld's older brother. He only really gets one scene at the end, but it's a killer scene. Really good actor, really strong talent. Career, I'm going to say, rightly hits a speed bump in 2019. And if you look at his IMDb, I believe this is his first movie since American Animals,
Yes.
which is him and all the other guys of that generation in a movie together.
It's him, Evan Peters, Barry. I didn't know Barry Keoghan.
Barry Keoghan, yeah. It's
Crazy.
all of them. And he probably could have been the one to really make it because he's the most conventionally charming of them. His career hits a speed bump. Gonna dance around this a little because he and Melissa Benoist get divorced. And then she posts an interview that says, hey, remember when I said I fell and like broke my eye from falling? That was actually Blake Jenner throwing an iPhone at my face. So he gets hit with like some pretty serious spousal abuse stuff. He kind of taps back and says, yes, I did it, but she was hitting me too. I think she denied it. And that, as far as I know, her denying that was the end of it. It did not ever seem like he was in any way not a piece of shit about the whole thing.
Yes.
But aside from that, he is in the cursed Richard Linklater movie that is cursed.
Merrily We
this is-
Roll Along.
Yes, which Merrily We Roll Along is a Richard Linklater movie that Linklater is going to be shooting over the course of 2 decades.
Yes.
That he started shooting with Blake Jenner right before this story broke. So he's kind of pot committed to Blake Jenner being in this thing.
Damn.
But this is Blake Jenner's post-cancellation comeback. And whatever spark and charm this guy had he is not showing it in this movie. He kind of comes a little alive in the blooper reel, but he is visibly hammered in almost every scene in this movie.
He's checked out. Clocked.
He is checked out. He is slurring his words. Like it is just
it's not going well for Mr. Jenner.
Performance. What?
It's not going well for Mr. Jenner.
No, he's so unengaging in this.
It is funny how this movie does do a like literal steps of engaging protagonist.
Yeah.
Because you go from Willis to Dorf to Jenner. And by that point you're like, all right, are we gonna get lower? We got one else coming?
And then like John Travolta steps on screen, but then not for very long.
He's in a little bit.
He's in a little bit.
He comes in for a little bit, a little taste.
Yeah.
John Travolta pops up and it like immediately singles the most obvious twist of all time.
No, what I like is Dorf is like, yeah, everyone's been hunting this guy. God, what's the fake
Bilford.
Terrence
Bilford.
Bilford.
The Midwest meth head drug lord.
Yeah, because he's Travis Buckley, but he went through the face-off machine.
Yes.
From Terrence Bilford. And it shows this like 7-Eleven security camera footage of Travis Bilford going in and killing 3 cops. And in that moment, and like, it looks like Travolta in that. And more importantly, it looks like Travolta in his life on the line biker outfit. And that's when I was like, okay, this is going to be, Stuart's going to love that.
It was such grainy 7-Eleven footage. It was a little hard to tell, but yes, I knew right away. I was like, oh, well, that's Travolta.
But it's not Travolta, I don't think, in that shot.
I mean, it's probably a stunt double.
It's just probably it's just very obvious that Travolta's going to be like maybe shady billionaire isn't just working with this vanished drug kingpin. He is the vanished drug kingpin.
Yeah, because we never see the vanished drug kingpin.
Also, if we're talking about Travolta fits, do we want to cue the music?
Oh, are we going to talk about the hair already?
We gotta.
Wow, this is quick. All right.
Let's cue the music.
Cue the music. Welcome back to the Travolta hair ranking. Oh my God, Jeff is flipping it around. Well, it's got to go right with the 3 to Tango because it's the exact same look as his 3 to Tango look.
Yes,
bald, grizzled beard. I would say it's a little bit longer and it's got more context to it. So put it above 3 to Tango.
Stuart, do you realize you're putting this at number 10?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Bullshit. He looks like dog shit in this movie. This is like the ugliest he's ever looked.
I disagree.
All you get is like the neck fat.
Well, that's a little harsh.
Well,
and it's not his hair.
I'm going to be a little harsh if you're going to put this fucker in the top 10.
Well, in terms of his hair.
Number 11?
3 to Tango.
No, number 11
is number 12.
Perfect.
Never seen Perfect. What's the first? What's the highest movie it beats that I've seen?
Blowout.
That's fucking insane. Absolutely not. I'm performing a citizen's arrest. Jeff, we need to claim control of the list from Stuart.
What if we launch a citizen's coup on the hair ranking?
All I'm gonna say is we went through a long, rough period in Travolta's history where he lost his hair. It wasn't going to grow back. And they put these shoddy wigs on him that never were blended in very well. So they always were very obvious wigs. And not only was it bad in the sense that they were obviously wigs, but they were bad wigs. And so the fact that Travolta it's great hair. Yeah, it's good hair.
I brought up
what are we taking a look at?
I brought up a picture of Blowout.
He looks so good. Okay. I know I insist that Pelham should be number 1,
and you're
but
wrong.
Blowout actually should be number 1 on the hair.
No,
it's his single most iconic look.
What is number 1?
Life
Jeff?
on the Line biker flashback, and then number 2 is Staying Alive.
He has the best. He has the best hair in Staying Alive. I mean, Staying Alive is the best hair of all time.
No, this is insane.
It's the best hair
ridiculous.
of all time. He has the Rambo hair.
This is ridiculous.
He has better hair in fucking Valley of Violence than in this. I thought we were all pretty pro in the Valley of Violence fit.
Valley of Violence is actually a pretty good fit.
Yeah,
What
we
about-
liked the pepper.
It's number 21.
Okay, that's sensible. Where's Pelham?
Cole, do you actually want to know?
I do actually want
It's
to
at number 50.
You desecrate Tony Scott's grave when you say that this is better than Pelham. Think about how much character.
By 40 votes.
Think about how much character is conveyed.
God.
I am
via
with you.
all
I'm with
these
Cole. I'm with Cole.
Yeah, okay. I've
You're
never even
always with
seen The
Cole, Jeff.
Fanatic, but I guarantee you he has better hair in The Fanatic than this because it's again, it's an
Fanatic's
idea.
lower than Pelham.
I think Fanatic is the lowest. Wait, no, Fanatic is at number 67.
He has better hair in Fanatic than this. You are not appreciating character conveyance through hairstyling.
Well,
That's been the damn problem with the show since the beginning.
a little harsh. I like my hair ranking. I think it's good. I think it's a great hair ranking. Listen, is the biker flashback a little controversial? Yes.
No, I think that's funny. That's good. I'm fine with that. I wouldn't put it at number one.
It's number one.
That's
It's number one. The moment
just
you
wouldn't put it
see
at number
John
one.
Travolta get off that motorcycle and walk towards, I don't know the actor's name in Life on the Line, with his sunglasses, his bandana, and his luscious long brown hair and his fucking thick beard. Oh my God, I creamed
I don't
in my
think I've
pants.
ever even heard of Life on the Line.
You gotta watch it.
It's actually maybe
it's
the
his
craziest-
best movie he's ever made after.
No, it is maybe
Fiction.
one. It's like
It's his best movie he's made after
one
Pulp
of the
Fiction.
more unexpectedly wild movies we've covered.
David Hackle directed this.
It's really great. It's so
David Hackle
funny.
directed Saw 5.
It is so funny. I can't even express it to you, Cole, on how fucking
I
funny
like
this
David
movie.
Hackle. I like David Hackle.
So,
That's all
tell
I'm gonna say.
Bailey I love her.
Jeff, have you seen Saw 5?
I have not seen Saw.
Did you know that Saw 5 is a feature-length retcon?
I am aware of this. I am aware that the Saw movies increasingly get to the points where the movies exist solely to justify the twist of the previous movie.
Saw 5 is the only one that is that extreme.
But in a lesser extent, doesn't it happen a lot?
Yes, there's a lot of twisting and like retconning and weird twists that need to be justified by the movie tying themselves to knots. But the twist at the end of Saw 4 is so incoherent that the entirety of Saw 5 is justifications for it.
So they bring our boy David Hackle in just to figure that out.
Well, he PD'd all the Saw movies, I think.
Oh,
Yeah. Saw always upgraded from within. And they're like Bond in that way.
yeah, he's a production designer and second unit director for those movies.
Yeah. David Hackle's
It's like
good.
the
I
guy
David
who
Hackle.
was the second unit shooter for Phantom Menace, who then went on to do Battlefield Earth.
Sure. Speaking of directors, can I just say, can we talk Chuck Russell for a second?
Let's talk Chuck Russell,
Chuck
the
Russell.
director of this movie.
And I Am Wrath.
Yes, and I'm Raf. We talked about him before.
I want you to know that we're already an hour in this movie, and we've not gotten past like the 5 minute
There's
mark.
okay.
You said it before we even started recording, Cole Bradley, that you did not want to do a 3-hour episode.
Okay,
I'm holding you to that.
My kind of like scoffing at you saying that was more at the implication that we had a wealth of material to talk about with it.
Okay, go on about
Because I can tell you this, I have about 2 other things I want to say about this movie.
Okay, say what you want to say about Chuck Russell.
Well, so Chuck Russell. So if I said the Chuck Russell thing on mic or only ever off mic?
You've said it on mic, but elaborate.
Okay, I'll elaborate on this. I am constantly fascinated by Chuck Russell's career because I think Chuck Russell has made the best first 2 movies of maybe any director ever. And the rest of his career does not bear fruit,
Yes.
is the thing. So let me just run down Chuck Russell. And I'm sorry if you guys talked about this on I Am Ralph.
No, we talked about it briefly.
Okay, Chuck Russell's first movie is, I believe he might even be a dollar baby. Chuck Russell's first movie is Nightmare on Elm Street 3,
Yes.
which is a huge hit, and is the movie that kind of gets the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise back on its feet. Because Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is kind of a flop.
Yes. Good
that is
movie,
obviously
but
a beloved movie now. But it was not then. And Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the movie that kind of sets the pace for the franchise as big effects showcase, kind of like fun and zippy. Freddy's making jokes left and right. The mythology starts getting its ground seated. Like that is like the Saw 2 of the Friday the 13th.
It's the one that makes Freddy funny.
Yeah, it's the one that makes Freddy funny. It's so good. It's so scary and tense and weird, and it's an incredible effect showcase, which is like put a pin in that. Is that is really the movie that sets up that, like, for better or for worse, you go see a Freddy movie, you're going to see some insane prosthetics and stop motion work and just like going above and beyond.
Yes.
His next movie is The fucking Blob, which you want to talk. Have you guys seen The Blob?
I have actually not seen The Blob. I've not seen this Blob.
Okay, the first Blob is whatever. It's a dumb 50s monster movie. I don't have a whole lot of love for 50s monster movies. Sorry if I'm bragging on it. I think it might literally be 1960. Whatever.
1958.
Chuck Russell's Blob is like as good as The Thing and the Fly. It might be better than The Thing and the Fly. It's next level, one of the best horror movies of the 80s, one of the best movies of the 80s, period. And again, it is just a mind-bogglingly complicated effects showcase because of how much of it is basically stop motion effects with a gel.
Yes.
And this like goop creeping around and eating people and dissolving people and shifting from maybe a real thing to a puppet to maybe a suit, and sometimes like that's the sort of movie that kind of gets you set for life, that you can take on this kind of corny premise and make it legitimately scary and legitimately gory, because that movie is fucking terrifying. I've seen it in a theater. It plays like gangbusters. And again, that the effects are so complicated in that movie.
Yeah, that shows a mastery of the craft.
He then takes 6 years off because he's working on The Mask. The fact that there's a 6-year gap in his career is because he is trying to develop the CGI for The Mask. That is my understanding.
And he gets it over the finish line.
He gets over the finish line. That movie's a massive hit, obviously because of Carrie, but that's also quietly up there with Terminator 2 in terms of like the big early CGI showcases.
Yeah.
Like what that movie does, I don't really like that movie, but what that movie does is truly groundbreaking. Here's my question after having outlined those as his first 3 movies. Why the fuck didn't he become James Cameron?
He tries because his next movie is with Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, but that's the thing. His next movie is Eraser. That's a work for hire job. It's not an exciting. That's like one of the last Arnie movies. That's Arnie on the way out.
Yeah,
that's Arnie like trying to claim to relevancy. And all of a sudden, Chuck Russell has gone from the like standard bearer of crazy American effects blockbusters to like an anonymous work for hire guy. And he spends the rest of his career in that mode. And it baffles me. And he never gives interviews, so I can't figure out what it is.
There's 3 big things, and then I'm going to run the rest of it down.
Yeah.
He does Eraser, Bless the Child, which is a Kim Basinger horror movie.
Which is just a cheapo summer, programmer.
The 2002 The Scorpion King movie.
Which is good.
Bold.
That's my thing. Like, that movie kind of comes alive. It's incredibly well directed. He outdoes Summers in some of like the action scenes of that movie, truly. The problem with it is Dwayne has not figured out how to act yet.
He is dire in that movie.
He's dire in it. It's a good movie though. But like, okay, we'll get to what he does next. But why didn't he make The Rundown? Why did Peter Berg make The Rundown?
I could not tell you. I could not tell you.
Even by the standards of clearly whatever potential of Chuck Russell being a major director is gone at this point. Something happened after The Mask. Maybe he's an asshole. He came up with Frank Darabont, and Frank Darabont is famously unpleasant, and nobody likes to work with him, and that's why Frank Darabont's career is dead.
Chuck Russell doesn't seem that endearing in the blooper reel.
Sure. He also never does press.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the mystery. But even if he's not going to be a major A-list director, Why isn't he the top level mid guy? Why isn't he Peter Berg?
Why is he doing shit like? Because if you discount an episode of Fringe,
Yes,
in 2010, he does not do anything between The Scorpion King and I Am Wrath.
and he comes in for I Am Wrath after Bill Friedkin quits.
Yes.
He's like a last-second replacement. That's the weirdest part about it. Now, the weird thing about him is he's made 3 movies and is working on a 4th movie since coming out of hiatus. 2 of them are DTV Travolta movies.
Yes.
Jeff, you know what the other 2 are?
They're Indian films.
He's the only American director to make Bollywood movies. He goes over to India. He made one, and he's working on one now.
Are they?
These
good?
aren't movies that are like there was that movie Dangal that was Disney opened the studio in India and made a Bollywood movie, and it's the biggest movie in Indian history. That's not this. Like, Chuck Russell is not doing this as some sort of like big studio cross promotion thing. Chuck Russell just goes over to India and makes Bollywood movies.
Sir, this is what it looks like.
Is it good?
Jung Lee.
I haven't seen it. It sounds interesting. But it's just such a bizarre career. And I came to this movie with an open mind, being like, well, 30, 40 years ago, he was an incredible director. Does he still have it in him? He's totally asleep for all this movie. We've talked about how it's like a reshot weird mess. There's one scene where it comes alive. And that's the big hotel shootout.
Yeah, the hotel shootout's pretty good. It's kind of
hotel
fun.
shootout has the only squib in this movie. And it's an incredible squib.
Which
That is a very big compliment, Cole.
Oh, it's such a fucking good squib. Holy shit. When they shoot the maid.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so
yes.
For most of this movie, whenever
It's all
people
CGI
get shot,
scripts.
it's CGI blood. And I am by no means, like, especially after what happened on the Rust set, I am totally on board with the idea that CGI muzzle flashes and CGI squibs, the degree to which they are safer outweighs the degree to which they are artistically worse.
Yeah.
That being said, it is extremely nice to see a real squib go off in this movie, and not just a real squib, but like clearly him knowing that this was the one he could do. And it's a woman gets shot by a sniper and gets blown out of the room on a wire, shot in 2 different setups, which is the insane thing. It seems like all the effort into the movie went into this one stunt. That leads to, I think, a pretty good and engaging like fist fight and shootout in a hotel room when some goons come for Jenner and Dorf. That ends with like a real free dive stunt.
Yeah, and there's like a real choreographed fight in there. It's an electric battle, I wrote in my notes, because
He has like a weird
Jenner
taser.
has like a taser, and then Dorf grabs a lamp, smashes the light bulb, and just starts stabbing guys with it.
I'm not saying it's like the best fight scene I've seen in forever, but it's clearly like a step above everything else in this movie.
You know what I like in this movie? That every time there's a shootout, it always happens to happen near where Travolta's throwing a party. And every time it cuts to like Travolta being like, "Hey, welcome to my," there's like explosions and gunshots going off. He's like, "Folks, we all gotta leave, but remember to vote for John Connie."
So yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like there's the car crash we talked about at the beginning. There's a pretty nice like gore dummy when they find Bruce Willis's dead body.
Yes.
Like
That we
there are,
learned
like,
they had to
glimpses
nail to
of,
the
like, what feels to me like Chuck Russell Schlockmeister waking up and having a little fun and doing like in many ways like what would be stuff you would expect to see in like a 90s action program.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the movie is so inert. Stuart does not seem like he's buying what I'm putting on the table.
No,
here.
the hotel scene I definitely think stood out to a minor degree above most of the movie.
Come on, you got a stuntman jumping off a high thing and falling into a body of water.
Yeah,
It's a real stunt.
maybe I'm.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a real stunt.
Maybe I'm.
They shoot it from a
desensitized,
bunch
but
of different setups too. Like,
Yeah.
come on, it's
I'm not
just
saying-
nice to see.
Yeah, it's absolutely a level above the rest of the movie. I'll give you that one.
That's about all I wanted to say about this movie. Is I just like this action scene.
Yeah.
And then every other action scene is an incredibly dire, terribly choreographed shootout with maybe like some hand-to-hand combat that just looks like dog shit.
It's all very shaky cam.
Yeah.
But the basic plot structure, I'm gonna go through the plot. And that feels like the path we must take.
Sure.
It's for me to just summarize the plot.
Take an hour.
It's for me to summarize
We're an hour
the
and
plot.
15 minutes into this podcast.
For us to get at, that's the path we must take. Is so
Listeners, I promise we'll break 3 hours on Killer of the Flower Moon.
that episode has to be double the length of that movie, so 6.
He salutes.
So basically, Travolta or Willis dies, quote unquote. His Steven Dorff is his former partner, Robbie. That's his name, right? Robbie.
Yeah.
Good performance.
He's pretty good in this.
I'm just gonna keep reiterating that. Like,
And then
I had the thought that like,
Except
this
that he's
feels like a
barely in the
glimpse-
fucking movie.
yeah, he's barely in the fucking movie, but it does feel like a glimpse of like, this should be Steven Dorff's network procedural. Was the thought I had.
like I was kind of engaged with him as the lead, and then he immediately gets kidnapped.
Yeah, and then he gets kidnapped by the bad guys who are vaguely
So Dorff.
racist. It's a vaguely racist idea.
Oh, jeez.
And there's all
It
these
is.
Hawaiian thugs are running around like imperiling the nice white people.
No, that's entirely as the Travolta. Like it's Travolta and like a bunch of Hawaiian thugs.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to take all the land. I'm going to turn it into
A big
Mine?
casino. I don't know.
I'm going to sell drugs in the
He's Bo Bridges and the Descendants.
I like that Travolta's like villainous. I'm already stopped talking about the plot. Travolta's whole villainous scheme. Travolta's whole villainous scheme in this movie is that he's gonna rig the Senate election of Hawaii, get his guy elected senator, so that he can approve bulldozing, so that he can mine oil on Maui.
No.
And
to
then
make Maui the like international like drug
Yes.
transportation market.
Yes.
To which I ask, to where, John Travolta?
Where is it
Are
going?
you running drugs between California and Japan? Like, what is the value of if
Maui.
you're a cartel guy, which is what Travolta was revealed to be, posing as a businessman? What is the value of Hawaii as a drug like transit space? I wonder if they wrote this movie and it was set in the Caribbean.
That would make sense.
A lot of this movie makes more sense if it's not set in Hawaii. If it's set in like Puerto Rico or something.
Because like, yeah, if you're trying, they're like, we're trying to reach the Asian markets. I think they said that. I'm like, I feel like that's already like a pipeline that exists.
Yeah, Europe's right fucking there. Afghanistan is right fucking there. Like, I don't get it. Sell cocaine to the Japanese, John Travolta.
It would be a little funny to see his plan lay out, and Travolta like just now owns all this like drug property on Maui, and nobody's buying, and the U.S. sends the military in to take it back.
You know what's really?
But again,
you know, what's,
I'm always in the tank for like, the villain's big plan involves esoteric political backroom dealing.
Yes.
Like that sort of thing is always really fun if you dig into it. This movie doesn't.
I think we see the senator once on screen, like once present on in a
Yes.
space, and then
He
once
gives like a victory speech at the end of the movie when
because he
elected.
wins.
Which makes again no fucking sense because it's not like killing John Travolta or arresting him is going to take everything down if it's that entrenched.
The senator won.
This does feel like a mid-level Jack Reacher novel at some points.
No, it's a mid-level Jack Reacher novel that they decided, what if we put John Travolta in it and see what happens?
Yeah, because that's a Jack Reacher villain plot right there. Is I'm gonna rig the Senate election for Hawaii so I can control the Pan-Asian drug trade. I love you, Lee Child. I hope you're happy in retirement.
Is he
You
not
should have
writing
quit
anymore?
No, he's co-writing them with his brother right now, but with the explicit plan that like after this next book or the one that comes out next year, it's going to be a clean transition.
Okay.
He's out. He's just managing the transition, and it is his brother.
How old is Jack Reacher at this point?
Jack Reacher is pushing 60 at this point because those books do explicitly take place in real time. Jack Reacher musters out in 97, I think, is the canon.
I hope they continue to Jack Reacher getting like 80 years old and still.
Well, the last couple Jack Reacher books, I haven't read the one that just came out or the one that came out last year, but the few before that definitely had this sense of like, oh, he's maybe getting too old for this shit.
Danny Glover style. Okay, I got the plot back up. All right. So
Stuart looks so bored.
Stuart
looks the most. Stuart is just on his phone.
Stuart was so angry that we had to go back to Travolta. He tried to get out of this.
Why did I try to get out of this?
You tried to be like, maybe. Stuart said the words, maybe we don't have to cover any new movies from it.
When did I say that?
You said this 2 weeks ago to me.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, but when he gets his next Oscar nomination in 6 years, you're going to be glad you did.
Who? Travolta?
Travolta.
Get a dream.
Get a dream.
Like he's got another comeback in him.
Get a fucking dream. No, he doesn't. He's never. We've talked about
this show.
We don't need to rehash.
We started this show.
We don't need to rehash
almost
this.
2 years ago, with the idea of like, you know, we're really rooting for this guy, and now Stuart's like, "Fuck him! I hope he drops dead."
John Travolta has a better chance of having a real career in 5 years than Brendan Fraser does.
Fuck you, Cole.
Sorry.
No, that's not true at all. Because if that is true, then the movie industry really is broken. This is really a broken industry, if that's honestly true.
Travolta, kind of good actor.
He's good. He's good in this. He's good in this.
He is.
I think I've settled on he's good in this.
He is.
He might be playing a Mexican. I can't decide.
I think he is.
No, but here's the thing. Like
he's doing a bit of an accent.
He's doing a Robert Downey Jr. on All-Star Weekend.
Listen, I know.
Show us All-Star Weekend, you cowards. The people demand it.
Stuart, are you aware of All-Star Weekend?
No.
The movie the man won't let you see.
So it's Jamie.
All-Star Weekend was shot in 2017. Jeff, you can take it from here.
In 2017, Jamie Foxx directed a basketball comedy called All-Star Weekend, starring Stuart. This is the cast of this movie. Jamie Foxx as Malik, a tow truck driver who's also a basketball fanatic. Jamie Foxx also playing two other roles: a white racist cop and Cleveland A. Smith, a fictional twin brother of the real-life sports television personality Stephen A. Smith.
Which, just to cut in for a second, Jamie Foxx has gone on the record as saying that he thinks nothing that is about to be said about this movie is problematic and they should let you release it because he's playing a white guy in this movie.
Okay.
So that's Jamie Foxx's logic, which I kind of can't fault.
Here's the rest of the cast. Jeremy Piven as Danny, Eva Longoria as Asia, Gerard Butler as a Russian, Ken Jeong, undefined, Benicio del Toro as Dr. Phil, and then Robert Downey Jr. as a Mexican.
In scare quotes.
As a Mexican.
You've seen the photo, right?
I have seen the photo.
It's like
I'm bringing it up for Stuart right now.
Is he trying to pull another Tropic Thunder?
Yes, he is. He 100% is, and they will not let it be released. And he has basically said, he gave an interview like a few months ago where he was like, yeah, they're just not releasing it unless I cut the Bob Downey stuff out.
Oh my God.
Show him the picture.
Oh my God. Get that heinous thing out of my sight. Oh my God. In what universe was that going to be
This movie was filmed 5 years ago.
In what fucking universe is that okay?
Anyway,
Jamie Foxx's career is so disappointing because he made that and now he's doing fucking gambling ads. It's such a bummer. He's a real movie star. We should be treating him better. He should be in House Party.
He shouldn't be the third ranked villain in Spider-Man 17.
He's so bad at that. He's kind of good in Day Shift, though.
I have not seen Day Shift.
It's not very good except for the one scene where Scott Adkins shows up and it becomes a Scott Adkins movie.
I mean, that's always what you want.
Yeah. There's nothing to fucking say about Paradise City, Jay. I think we cut, like, what is there to say?
All right, I'm going to do this in... Can we get a timer?
Yes. Give me 1 second.
Who wants to time me?
I got it.
I got it.
What do you want me to time it to? An hour, a minute?
Give me 60 seconds. Don't start it yet. I'm going to see if I can summarize this plot from where I left off.
Yeah, let me know when.
So I left off with... Wait.
Steven Dorff showing up.
I was 5 minutes.
Dorff
Okay,
showing
let's
up.
go.
Ready? And start.
So Blake Jenner's playing Ryan Swan, who's a son of Bruce Willis's Ian Swan. He teams up with Steven Dorff's character, Robbie. They decide they're going to find the guy who killed Ian Swan, Bruce Willis. So they go to this hotel. They get in a big shootout. Steven Dorff gets captured. This leads both of them... Oh, Ryan Swan also gets caught by the police. This leads him to John Travolta playing a guy named Buckley, who's like the big CEO of the island, the big rich billionaire, crime lord. So he offers them money to go away and stop investigating him. They decide they're going to continue to investigate him. Ryan Swan teams up with a woman named Savannah who works at a strip club but is also a cop and also is from Paradise City, which is a village in the middle of the island. So they go to this island. Ryan Swan trips on ayahuasca. They reveal that Ian Swan is still alive. They go back. They invade Travolta's hotel. They get Travolta. They almost kill him. Ian Swan gets shot. Travolta gets captured at the end.
1.
Do you guys know who Andy Sedaris was?
Yes.
This was the other thing you do, Jeff.
I don't. I do not.
Andy Sedaris is like weirdly one of like the pioneering figures in how live football games are shot. Like that's his real legacy. But his other legacy is that in the 80s and 90s, Andy Sedaris kind of hung out in Hawaii and made a series of vaguely connected movies in which Playboy Playmates and Playboy Bunnies and Penthouse Playmates or whatever it is. Penthouse Pets, sorry.
Yeah.
Played like bikini-clad CIA agents fighting drug trafficking in Hawaii and occasionally Florida. And these movies are incredibly fun, but also just incredibly silly, full of completely ludicrous action, wacky effects, any excuse in the world to get people to take their clothes off.
Yeah.
Weirdly bisexual in how they like ogle men as much as they ogle women, which is kind of the charm of them. They're very like wholesome in the fact that they're sleazy. But when this movie reveals to itself that the linchpin of the plot is a strip club where all the corrupt people go, that is actually an intelligence gathering operation for a Hawaiian nationalist movement, I was like, oh, this is a bad Andy Sedaris movie. And what it's lacking that Andy Sedaris has is like not to be sleazy, but like if you're going to go into the strip club, why is it a clothed strip club?
Yeah, there's never any nudity.
Like this movie is like, I mean, I guess it's the times these days, but this movie is like hinting at tastelessness.
And never
in
committing to
both
it.
The violence and in the eye candy of it all, that it's not willing to like cash in on, and that's maybe part of the reason why it feels so vapid.
Yes.
Is that it should be like softcore in a way, and it's not.
Because there's like, it's a big part where it's like, all right, girls, let's go find out what we can, and all these strippers walk out. And then we cut to Blake Jenner outside of the club, and one of them comes out and is like, yeah, here's what we found out.
Yeah, you want to see the strippers get into a shootout.
Yeah, you want to see strippers just ask the people questions. You want to see them get the information.
Like I said, there's just like all these opportunities for this movie to have more levity or more intellect, and it doesn't want to do either, probably because Chuck Russell sounds like he's completely bored.
He wants to go home. He wants to get his guaranteed 10 and go home. I wrote some random quotes from Travolta in my notebook that we just simply have to acknowledge. At one point, Bruce Willis introduces himself as, "My name is Swan like the bird."
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
There's another part where Travolta's trying to convince Blake Jenner to leave the island, and he's like, "I hear Hawaiian Airlines has a midnight flight that might give you a complimentary pineapple or coconut or whatever they got these days.
A perfect opportunity for a Royale with cheese joke.
No, we've already covered that
No,
one.
that would be hacky. But okay, I'm just gonna ping pong here again. Maybe I don't know that John Travolta is good in this movie,
He's pretty good.
but he's having a lot of fun.
He is having fun.
He is taking the opportunity to like say lines in weird cadences and maybe do a Mexican accent.
Maybe play a, quote, Mexican. Can I talk about my favorite part of this movie?
Yes.
It's when the girl Savannah is just like, there was one elder leader who went against Buckley, and then he disappeared. And then it just cuts... And we just see
that's the Andy Sedaris moment of this movie.
and we see this poorly green screened Hawaiian guy falling into a volcano. He's just like, oh, and then it does an upward cut to Travolta, clearly in a tourist helicopter, just looking down ominously.
I legitimately love it. I think
it's a good shot.
So much fun. It's a good shot, and it's the movie I wish this was.
That's
the movie I wish this was is either a smart crime thriller or something extremely campy.
Yes.
Can I tell you my favorite part about this movie?
When it ended.
Well, no. My favorite part of this movie is when Ryan and Jerry is the name of that female cop.
It's Savannah.
It's Jerry.
It's Savannah.
I thought it was Jerry.
Jerry is the stripper leader.
No, Nikki is the stripper
Nikki.
leader.
Oh, is it?
Speaking of, do you know what else she's in? Because I was like, I feel like I recognize you from something. I looked her up. She's in The Comeback Trail, the other movie Hollywood won't let you see. Do you know The Comeback Trail,
Yes,
Jeff?
I do.
Yes. I saw the trailer for that so many times back in the day.
You're talking about the Amber Ibarra character, right?
Yeah.
That's credited as Jerry.
Yeah, but the main cop character is Priya Lundenberg as Savannah.
Who is a Thai model, and this is her first American movie.
Okay, never mind then. So then
She is not Hawaiian.
Savannah and Ryan, Blake Jenner. One of the things is we got to look for clues, and it's like, well, we got to go to the site where my father was killed. So what do? They take a speedboat
And
there.
get in bathing suits.
They get in bathing suits. But what's the problem with this, Jeff? Because at the fucking beginning of the movie, we know that it's accessible by car. But they took a boat there, which presumably the only reason they do that is so
we can get the bathing suits.
we can get the bathing suit shots. But it doesn't end there, because then Savannah brings out a fucking metal detector and says, quote, "It's an underwater metal detector you could buy for $19.99 at Amazon." And she finds his fucking phone with all the incriminating information on John Travolta. Which they figure out when they're with Bruce Willis, and they say, "I lost all the evidence, but I had a backup on my phone." And then right on cue, Blake Jenner says, "You mean this phone?"
See, that's why this movie's good.
Wait, what did he say?
Cole had to step away for a quick second.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, there's that. Some other lines I just simply want to acknowledge here is Travolta at one point talks about how it's hard to be a white guy on Hawaii and says, "I could raise a mountain out of the sea and still be called a tourist." Or my personal favorite line, "The only thing I'm scared of is me, and I am me, so I have nothing to be afraid of." Imagine some guy just comes up to you and says that shit.
I can imagine Travolta saying something like that. What else? Did I
Travolta
have?
goes through the fucking face-off machine in this movie.
He does. He gets a plastic surgery.
It's so funny when they show that picture of like him mid-surgery, because it's very clearly just one picture spliced in the middle with another picture of him.
One of my other favorite things is they talk about Paradise City.
Yes,
and we don't get a lot of.
Bum, 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 bum.
We don't get.
Take me down to the paradise.
We don't get a lot of context into what Paradise City is, but presumably it's like, is it a nightclub? Is it a bar? Is it a local neighborhood? And then it's like, we're going to go to Paradise City. So they drive to this road, and then they park their truck, and they start hiking in the fucking wilderness. And it's like, where is this place? And they go into the woods. The dude takes a fucking leak, and then he gets like blow darted by these natives.
And the next thing you know, he's in a hut taking ayahuasca.
Where he hallucinates Bruce Willis, but is actually Bruce Willis who's there. Like, this fucking movie. I can't.
You know what is a good character bit in this movie?
What?
Every time we meet Travolta, he's complaining about how he hasn't gotten enough sleep the night before because of all
That
this
is a
business.
good bit. That's the only real justification for them insisting that the gunfight in the hotel took place at night.
Yeah, because he's like, he has an espresso. He's like, you know why I have a double shot? Because I did not sleep an inch last night.
It's good.
And then every time he does it for all three of like the main lead characters. Every time he interacts with one of them, he's like, you know, sleep is very important, and I have not gotten any. That's a good bit.
Do you guys remember Koa?
Poor guy.
You know who
Poor
Koa
guy.
is, Cole? So Koa's the kid at the beginning of the movie.
That kid!
That Robbie Cole
He gets shot at the end of the movie.
was at an MMA fight. He skipped bail, ran from the cops, randomly shows up at the fucking last scene of the movie where they're at the Golden Throne, which is Buckley, John Travolta's fortress or whatever. And he decides he's eagerly waiting to join the good guy's side. But 5 minutes after he does that, he gets shot and killed.
he gets shot in, like the background. It's like Ryan it's like God, what's it? Blake Jenner and because a bullet misses Blake Jenner, just hits Cole in the background of the shot. We just never acknowledge that he dropped it, except for at the end when they have the memorial for Bruce Willis. The old woman's just like, we mourn our brothers who passed away, Ian Swan and Koa. I'm like, what?
Bruce Willis, who dies off screen, incidentally. It's very strange.
He gets shot, and then
he's like, go after Travolta.
Oh.
And then Blake Jenner goes after Travolta, and then like
He gets shot.
30 seconds later, it's now the middle of the night, and they're like, we're sorry about your loss. And Travolta's been treading water ever since his boat got blown up.
Treading water for 13 hours.
I wrote a note about this because this is very strange. He shoots the gas tank on Travolta's boat. There's a little explosion.
Take the shot.
Travolta jumps
Take
off.
the shot, Ryan.
The sun is still in the sky. It's setting, but it's still there. We then cut to, like you said, pitch black. God's like, sorry about your father. And then we cut to the water. Travolta is just now making it to shore.
He's been swimming for so many hours.
It's like world's worst swimmer.
He's like, he finally got to shore, and he's finally just now getting arrested.
He's like, guys, I was going in the wrong direction.
Well, they couldn't have put in rescue divers to fucking get him out and then arrest him. They had to wait all fucking 3 hours for him to swim up to shore.
Okay.
Why don't you
his
just
fucking
stay for
floaties?
night?
Can I bring up another thing I really like in this?
Is it John Travolta's incredibly annoying son, who I'm pretty sure exists only in the reshoots?
Yes. No,
Okay.
but it's the so Paradise City gets attacked by Travolta's goons and burnt down.
Yes.
The next scene, Savannah is from Paradise City. Like those are her family, her people. Blake Jenner looks at a TV and then runs over to Willis and Savannah and sits down and says, "Guys, shit just got deeper." And then he points at the TV, and it's like her entire family being burnt alive.
And then you have what like maybe could be a nice moment where the Hawaiian bartender gives like a toast to the memory of the Hawaiian nationalists,
The Ninth Tribe.
But then it's echoed by all the fucking tourists in the bar.
See, this is why this movie's kind of good.
And then, and then at the very end, you see that Ryan, who got the bounty for Bilford, gave it away to the tribe to rebuild Paradise City. And then he's with Savannah, And he says, well, I hope after this we can all stay friends. And she says, that would be very boring. And then they make out for why? Because, well, the movie's over. So fuck you. That's why. Like, and that's the end. And that's the end. Until the fucking blooper reels. Oh my
not
God.
a good movie.
The blooper
Jeff, how
reel.
much money did it make yesterday?
Let's find out. I'm going to the numbers.
Yeah. We love the numbers. The show is brought to you by the numbers.
NoNumbers.com. Paradise City. No, not Paradise City Production Company.
It says on IMDb the budget is estimated to be $20 million. That is way more money than I think this movie
It is not. They have not reported grosses.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Either they have not reported grosses or it made less than Christian baseball movie Running Up the Bases, which made $1,000 yesterday.
Good to know.
I mean, I think it's worth pointing out that in the history of Travolting podcasts, this is the most recent movie that we are covering post-release.
Yes, this movie came out
Very astute.
yesterday as of our recording. And then we are and then it'll be airing 1 week after its release.
I'm very annoyed that I couldn't go see it in whatever theaters they're playing it in.
I'm looking. It is available in one theater in the Chicagoland area.
Which one?
Cinema Chatham.
I've never heard of that.
Cinema
that.
Chatham, powered by Imagine. It's a movie.
Where is it?
It's in the deep south side next to a
Fucking
Walmart.
Skokie?
Well, that'd be why I haven't heard of it, because I never go down south.
It's in the deep south side next to a Jewel Osco and a Walmart.
Fitting.
Ew, Fableman's only made $60,000 yesterday.
Oh,
That's
it's a
not great.
studio movie grill.
Oh, ew.
I don't know why it lists as Cinema Chatham, though.
Did you see that Wakanda Forever might not break 200
I did.
for the weekend?
Why?
That's, I don't know. That's not great, though.
That's really terrible.
I could see this movie having a mid-level.
I mean, Marvel movies are
Cinema
on a
score.
they're on a downswing right now.
They're on a downswing.
This will be the most
one
successful one of the
It's trending to be the worst reviewed one since Eternals.
reviewed or box office.
Reviewed.
Interesting.
Really?
Metacritic. I saw Metacritic was down to like 67 the other day. That might bounce back once it's a general release.
Yeah, I hear good movie though, right?
It's okay.
You've seen it.
It's slipping from my brain. It's the best one in forever, though I think Eternals might be a good movie.
Okay.
Stuart wants to end this podcast.
I really do want to end this podcast.
Stuart wants to go.
Not this recording, this podcast.
I picked up what you put
I
down.
want to end the fucking podcast.
Well, then maybe we'll talk off mic.
Stuart, you're never getting out of this.
I'm gonna tag that bit.
I'm
going to splice
getting
that
out of this.
I'm gonna splice this audio recording and I'm gonna put it at our podcast series finale.
You're never getting out of this. Okay, any final thoughts on Paradise City before I close this out?
No.
Cole.
Eh.
Yeah, fun.
I mean,
here's my final thought. I actually don't understand what the appeal of this is besides cashing in on whatever last star power those two guys have. I don't understand what the version of this that someone who would like this, why they would want to see something like this.
It's just very sad thinking about this and like two other movies are going to be Bruce Willis's last movies. It's very, very sad. Like I think about last movies an actor makes a lot before either their retirement or their demise. And I'm brought back to two figures, Sean Connery and Robin Williams.
Sean Connery.
Correct if I'm wrong, Jeff Cole, but I know he did stuff after
League of
Extraordinary
Extraordinary. No, that's
Men.
his last movie if you don't count Sir Billy.
That's what I was going to say.
I was
If
going to
you
say, what
don't
about Sir
count
Billy?
Sir Billy.
I knew you
If
were
you
going to fucking
don't
talk
count
about Sir Billy.
Billy,
I preempted you
then
with
it's
Sir Billy
League of
talk.
Extraordinary Gentlemen is Sean Connery's fucking last movie.
But you know the story behind that, right?
Yes.
Vaguely. Remind me, though.
He turned down The Matrix. No, he turned down Lord of the Rings. Sorry.
He turned
Or
down,
was it The Matrix?
I think at some point he was talked about for The Matrix, but he turned down Lord of the Rings explicitly.
He turns down Lord of the Rings because he reads the script and he's like, this is gobbledygook. And then he reads the script and he's like, this is nonsense. This isn't going to be a hit. I don't want to attach myself to it. And obviously Fellowship is a massive hit. So he basically says, maybe I'm not a good sense of it. I should trust my agents who are younger. His agents tell him do League. He's like, sure. And then League is a huge flop. And he's just like, my time has passed.
I'm done with movies.
Like, he's just like his status as a box office draw was done. He didn't have a good sense for scripts anymore. The industry had left him behind and he tapped out. I think that's a very sensible, honestly, I don't think it's that sad. I think it's a sensible way to go out. And then it happened to go with a bad movie, but it was a bad movie that he headlined.
But then I think about Robin Williams, who, if you don't count Absolutely Anything, where he voices a dog, that would be Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, which is not a good movie, but it's got Robin Williams' best final line that that could ever possibly cap off his character. And it's right before the sun's about to come up.
You've seen this movie?
Yes, because it's Robin Williams, and Robin Williams is my second father.
Stuart has seen Night at the Museum 3?
Yes. I am not surprised at all.
And for folks who are not versed in Night at the Museum, he plays Teddy Roosevelt.
I have seen Night at the Museum 1.
And it's, he just gets back to the museum in New York, and he talks to, and it's become a voice splice trend on TikTok where Ben Stiller says, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And Robin Williams says, how exciting. And then right before the sun comes up, Teddy Roosevelt, Robin Williams, he unsheathes his sword, goes into his wax pose that he always goes to at the end of every night. And he says, Lawrence, the sun is rising. And then he freezes into his wax shape. And that's the last line spoken by Robin Williams, if you don't count Dennis the dog and Absolutely Anything. And I think it's fucking
cute.
beautiful. I think
Can
it's
I
beautiful.
spoil the end of Bros for a second?
Yeah,
Sure.
Listeners, skip ahead if you want to miss out on the end and probably worst joke in Bros. The last punchline of Bros is definitely that they open up a gay Night of the Museum wing in the gay museum that they're running, in which Ben Stiller and other famos show up as holograms dressed as like famous characters from gay history. It sucks. Bros is bad. I'm sorry. Anyway, what's the best Robin Williams movie? Is it World's Greatest Dad or is it Old Dogs?
Robin Williams' best movie?
Stuart is taking this very seriously. He is ignoring
I'm taking it very seriously.
I don't
World's
even know.
Greatest Dad or Old Dogs?
I don't know. Best role or best movie?
Both.
Okay, because best role, it's Merrick Rook in the Law and Order episode 2008, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. He plays a fucking great
Okay, I could see that.
at that. And then his best movie, I gotta say it's a tie between Dead Poet Society and RV.
Ew.
Okay.
Dead Poet Society fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
World's Greatest Dad is like one of the
Fuck
best
you,
movies of
Cole
2009.
Bradley.
That movie's a masterpiece. I adore that movie.
I mean, he's also really good in Hook. Hook is an underrated movie.
Hook fucking sucks donkey ass.
No, Hook is
Stuart.
actually a secret
Hook is like the worst
Stuart.
movie anyone's ever made,
Hook
except
is
there
a
are
secret
worse
masterpiece.
movies.
Stuart, remember like a few weeks ago when I told you I have a take that I just don't think I can tell you?
Okay, go
My
ahead.
take is the Hook's
Say it.
pretty bad.
No, Hook is,
Hook fucking is interminable.
Hook is actually a secret masterpiece.
Hook is fucking unwatchable.
And Spielberg
the
knew
only
that.
Reason
Spielberg
it's
knew that.
not
Spielberg
the worst
knew that.
Steven Spielberg movie is that Ready Player One is maybe the worst movie anyone's ever made.
Well,
I kind of like.
talking to the
I don't
guys-
love Ready Player One, but I think it's okay.
you're talking to the guys who cover Battlefield Earth.
I've never seen Battlefield Earth. Battlefield Earth has
Incomprehensible movie.
a moral fortitude that is lacking from Ready Player One. An
A
evil movie.
moral fortitude and Battlefield Earth are two phrases that I would never thought I would hear.
I
in the same
guarantee you
sentence.
Battlefield Earth is better than I will fucking watch Battlefield Earth.
Bet.
Ready Player
Bet.
One at least ends with Spielberg grabbing the camera and screaming at you to go outside. It's pretty fun.
Can we talk about how Spielberg's quietly on a flop era?
Quietly.
Yeah,
Yeah, quietly.
because West Side Story was also bad, and The Fablemans is going to suck.
What's that story? Great movie. Fableman's gonna be
He
pretty good.
made the best movie anyone's ever made, and then he lost the ability to make movies.
What's the greatest movie?
The Post.
I'm going to stop this recording right now. I'm going to stop.
Oh, what-
Thank
can I-
you, folks,
can
for
I-
listening
can
to
I
the
say
Travolting
one thing about
podcast.
Steven
You can
Spielberg?
find us on Apple
I say one
Podcasts,
thing
Google
about Steven
Podcasts,
Spielberg?
Spotify,
Yeah, go before
and
he turns it
YouTube.
off.
I
You
have
can
not
check
seen
us
The
out at our
Fablemans yet,
Instagram.
but I have
at
seen Armageddon
Travolting
Time.
Pod.
And
You
if
can
I
email
was
us
Steven
with questions,
Spielberg, I would have
comments,
changed my name and
returns
fled for the border
at
by now.
TravoltingPod@gmail.com. You can find Jeff on Instagram or Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney. You can find me on Instagram at Stuart185. Cole,
He actually has it all
last
memorized.
thing to plug before I shut off the fucking machine, you heathen.
The Post is like one of the great movies of the past 10 years.
And
Stuart
with
and I
that-
actually did this fight on this show.
Join us next
Because
week
I'm very pro Post.
as we go back to the Fraser's Edge schedule.
Post.
We're going to cover
Post.
Brain Candy. Am I right on
Oh,
that?
Kids
Jeff?
in the Hall.
Yeah,
I
Kids in the
didn't know
Hall.
he was
Brain-
in that.
Kids
He
in the
is,
Hall,
Brendan
Brain
Fraser.
Candy. Brendan
Crazy.
Fraser's next little role that we get to. It's going to be one of his next it's going to be the next in his trend of doing these small roles before he hits another slam dunk with George of the Jungle. So thank you all for listening as we travel
Stuart,
back
I need to correct you.
to
I need to correct you. I'm
Travolting.
sorry. He does not, in fact, hit a slam dunk with George the Jungle. He does, in fact, hit a tree.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you
He's
next
won
week.
this episode 500 points. for Cole.
Goodbye. See you all next week. Thank you all for